held it up to the speaker and like records the drum loop in, and then later played it back into the computer. So he was kind of disappointed because lost quality there, and he was just going to remake it, and didn't end up remaking it. Instead, he had just laid that drum line in. And he didn't want to include the track because it was like he thought it was too low quality. But I was like, that's kind of the feel of Gears of War. I think it plays really well. And
Right.
so now, like anybody that I can get to tell him that they like that song, like it's just funny. Like, look, like it turned out to be a good inclusion. So
That's pretty smart. You're like spreading the word.
yeah, right.
That's cool. All right. You know what, Dor, can I ask one more question?
It's your show.
Who's kidding who? Come on, Dor. It's Dor's show. And I just would like to know, you started telling us how you guys, started to become popular. Can you fill us in a little bit more about that? I always love to hear how, the beginnings of like a project or a group, and when they achieve success, like your trip along that way, like what really did it for you guys? Like what can you give me like some, a little bit more history?
Sure. There are a lot of variables in the mix, or a lot of parameters, definitely. Like one thing is we don't really know much about promotion. We don't know anything about marketing. To me, I could never say like if I spend $500 on marketing here, it will automatically or guaranteed like return this result. So I could never come up with a formula. But what always made sense to me was just play good shows and put out good music, and then you'll get good word of mouth promotion. I know like if I went up to some arbitrary person and told them like, check out dual core, this is awesome, like this is my stuff, it's great, they might be skeptical checking it out or not even care to hear what I'm saying. But if their friend comes up to them and says like, oh my God, I just found this album, these guys are great, you're gonna love it, like they're already gonna have a positive vibe going into checking out the album.
Right.
So if we do a good job and we have a lot of fun, other people will pick up on that, I think, and spread the word. So I think that's been a huge part of it. It's just listeners like just spreading the word.
Right.
We've also been very fortunate to make a lot of good friends with other artists that are very talented, and then that in turn like helps us book additional shows. Like Whitey Cracker was instrumental in booking us like the Facebook show. MC Frontalot, MC Lars, they booked a lot of shows for us. Mega Ran, a really talented guy, like we've gotten to play a bunch of shows with him. Adam Warrock, another dude that's real talented. He raps about comic book stuff. We've been fortunate to play some shows with him. So there are a lot of talented artists out there that we've had the good fortune to work with and become acquainted with, and that's been big for us. And then the rest of it, I think, is just kind of walking the walk. Like I rap about what I do, and so that that plays well with a lot of people. So if people want us to come to their hacker conference, it's not like we're going to be some weird dudes that are out of place there. Like I can totally just hang out at my booth all day and like talk shop with anybody that walks by, because I do the same thing that they do for a living.
Right.
So that, I mean, I think it's just all been kind of just doing what we do has just kind of been on the right track, fortunately. And we've just been very lucky in doing the right things, I guess, and having the right people support us and broaden our spectrum.
I could really appreciate that. And, it's good. And I don't think it's luck. I mean, it's like they say the cream rises to the top. So if you, like you said, you keep putting out good stuff, you're going to get noticed. And I agree. We do the same thing at Podnutz. Like I'm a terrible promoter of like the show and marketer. I just keep putting out the shows, and if people like them, then they'll tell other people about them. And I love like I bet marketers would come up to me and just want to shoot me for some of the things I've done and not done with the network. But it's just like I love that like grassroots like build up the because you get the best followers that way too, because they're just there because they love it. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had people drive like for hours and hours to come see us play, which just blows my mind, because I'm like, you have to go to work tomorrow, and I have to go to work tomorrow. I would not have made that trip.
Right.
But so yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, on the marketing side of things, certain things to me make sense. Like it makes sense that people should be able to find you easily online. So like I can comprehend that. Like technical, like I understand. Put up a website, have content, have people link to your content, like that will get you up further on the search results.
Right.
That is a form of marketing, I guess. I just didn't really pay anything for it other than my Colo box monthly fee at the ISP. But other than that, like that kind of stuff makes sense to me. It's a technical thing, but other, like yeah, I think a lot of it has just been like the people that listen to our stuff and drive us and support us.
Right. No, I think it's really great. It's a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and just okay, I was being nice and patient, but did you say Whitey Cracker?
yeah, that's my
That's
homie. He's from Colorado Springs. He and I are almost the same person. I think we share a lot of same background, history, and experiences. We both started out hacking on AOL. We've both like been listening to hip hop for a long time and have like a good, foundation in hip hop, and we both like free things. So that's one way to put it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you just said Whitey Cracker, kind of caught me off guard. Okay, now and I have to ask you, C64. I think even those of us who are not really into computers as far as you are still would get the C64 reference. But I have to ask you, int 80 for the people listening. Can I ask what does that mean?
Sure. Okay, so in operating systems, you'll have a separation between user land and kernel. So your user land is like Firefox, right? It's just like your average standalone program that the user interacts with. And then kernel land is like the core of your OS, drivers and whatnot. So to go between user land and kernel land, it varies between operating system. And in Linux, on Intel chips on x86, you use an interrupt to hand off from user land to kernel land. And that interrupt is interrupt 80. It's actually 80 in hex. But if you ever to disassemble a program, like disassemble a binary, like an ELF binary in Linux, you would see when they make the system calls, like to read something or to write something, you'll see like the registers get loaded up with the proper values, and then they execute this instruction for the interrupt 80. And that's what hands off the call into the kernel land.
Very cool. Very cool.
I love that.
Yeah. Sorry, a big nerd. Actually, I wanted to say real quick, C64's name has like way cooler stuff to it. So his first gaming system was the Commodore 64, but his first name is Chris, spelled with the C, and his height is 6'4". So I'm like, man, you got LZMA compression on your name, like packing all the meanings in, and I just have like the one thing. So
Right.
I like N80. I think it sounds cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I will say I almost find it shocking how well you guys were flowing together, even though thousands of miles apart you were when the album was made. That kind of stupefies me.
Oh, thanks. Well, I mean, a lot of it I think is really C64. I mean, he's got the ear for everything, and he could pinpoint stuff in the beat, in my verses and say like, here you need to try like switching up your cadence a little, or your vocal inflection needs to change a little bit. But I definitely give him all the credit. I mean, he's really, really talented dude, and rapping is not a very talent requiring task. It's pretty simple to do. So I give him like all the credit.
Hey, well, of course you got to give yourself some credit. Rapping is not easy. I mean, have you heard? There's some pretty bad rappers out there. So I think it's definitely a talent.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Okay, I'll give myself like 0.1%.
Yeah, because I'll say there are definitely like some algorithms you have to flow on, and I would say honestly, back in the day, I'll let everybody know, I owned virtually every album from groups like Public Enemy, Eric B. and Rakim, Gangstar, Boogie Down Productions. I mean, everybody who was anybody back then. And I will say, you have lyrical talent, and the beats and the flow and the breaks and everything I thought was absolutely top notch. I think you guys are taking this niche, and you're definitely trying to pwn it as hard as you possibly can. But what you said before kind of amazes me, how it's kind of like in the podcasting world, it seems like people aren't fighting in the podcast world. They're all like brothers. And it seems like what I'm learning in the nerdcore world, it seems like it's kind of the same thing. Everybody's just happy to see other people are doing this. Is that correct?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you can find like certain internet forums and stuff where there are, conflicts and squabbles between artists, but for the most part, I think the artists that are doing it the most, rapping the most and playing shows the most and producing the most, I think we all are just, we're all friends and like if you think of it as in like slices of the pie, like I'll attribute this one to Whitey Cracker. It's not like it's not like you just have like one pizza, and if somebody else comes to the party, everybody gets less pizza. It's just like there will just be more pizza because there's always more people to turn on to your music, and so it's not like we're losing fans because somebody else who's awesome at making nerdcore hip hop comes into the scene. So I just think it brings more people into it. So I think, yeah, we all work together and enjoy working together. We're all very friendly folks, and we're very fortunate to all know each other, I think.
Yeah, I'll just say you had me at pie. Now, when you were at OLF, I gotta say, sitting in the main hall, Tracy Holtz was sitting in the table next to you to your left. He asked me to ask you, how are you doing on Life is Crime?
Oh, sweet. I'm doing really well on Life is Crime. For those that don't know, Life is Crime is a free game for Android. They released it at PAX, but you can get it in the market. I think it's still in beta. But I'm on level 19. The game is kind of like Foursquare, except instead of like checking into places, you can like rob them or sell drugs there or traffic stolen goods through them. And then you can like fight other people for turf and stuff like that. So it's a very fun game. I found a bunch of bugs and like glitches that I kind of leverage, but I haven't done any real hacks on it. Like I haven't reversed the APK and I haven't done any hardcore analysis on the network protocol and traffic. So it's going really well though. I'm dual core music on there as well. So if you play Life is Crime, add me to your mob. They just started a mission with gangs, so you can belong to one gang with 3 other people, and the current mission is just getting as much money from robbing banks as possible. And I think we're in 11th. We were in first for a while. Yeah, there it is. So we were in first for a while, and then we kind of dropped, and we're in 11th though. We're holding our own.
How many people are in your mob?
I think I'm coming up on 700 right now.
Are you the biggest mob in the game?
No, I'm sure there are people that are way bigger than my mob. I mean, they're like, I'm level 19. They just expanded levels out. So I think like I've been fighting with some people that are level 25 and they've been wiping the floor with me. I'm afraid to admit that.
This game looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Huh. Yeah. And I'll just say personally, I'm happy to see you have an Android.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have a G2 and it's the best handset I've ever owned. I can't figure out what I would go to next because I really like this one a lot.
What's the carrier?
Cincinnati Bell. It's actually a T-Mobile phone, but Cincinnati Bell uses the same 3G and 4G bands that T-Mobile does, and so I bought it unlocked and took it to the store, set the APN stuff up, and got it all onto Bell's network.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, they kind of were like, "Wait, what?" Like when I brought it in. It's like, no, it's okay. Just trust me. I just need your APN settings.
They're like, nobody has ever asked us for that.
Right.
No, we just did a benchmark wars on the last episode of Android App Addicts, which is another show we do. And the Samsung Galaxy S2 or the Sprint Epic 4G Touch basically wiped the floor with everybody. It just kicked butt. So, and that's got a 4.5-inch screen. So I'm definitely looking at that phone. I don't know what you like as far as phones, but that one pretty much was dominant in our little wars. So
nice. Did you guys see the security vulnerability with the Samsung Galaxy 2?
No.
I did hear about it today, but I didn't read it.
There's a video up online, and basically the guy, he's got you can draw the design to unlock your screen. So he pulls it out. He like hits the button on the side to like activate the screen, and then doesn't touch anything, lets it fade back out.
Oh,
and when
he
hits it again, he's like able to move the wallpaper off and like get access to all his stuff.
Really?
Yeah. It's like doesn't lock right.
It's that easy to get into it?
Yeah, I accidentally, the whole locking is this bad. Y/N.
Huh. Well, then it makes sense. Didn't they